find an alternate location for it that's much cheaper, and you'll hear why in a minute. Probation is doing some transitioning already, as probation officers will be heading towards the homes rather than the probationers coming to the building itself. As of this time, I will tell you that the probation average is 175 probationers in the city of Port Jervis. 175. Orange County, which are, if we pay taxes or we pay rent, that rent or our taxes go to Orange County. Orange County pays $120,000 a year for that building up on Pike Street, and it doesn't reap any benefits financially. The biggest concern that the folks at this meeting had was the one reception person that DSS has and the 2 employees that they have for employment training. And I spoke to them, and when talking to them, I said, we can find alternate locations, whether it be the youth center during the day, which the youth center is not being used, and it can be, it is a community center, and these for community functions, especially for employment. The GED program at night goes to the middle school, but during the day, Orange County Community College offers the GED program, and that bus does allow people who are going to Orange County Community College to use it, or any daytime GED program that's being run through BOCES could be held also at the youth center. So those were some of the things that we discussed. Pretty clear? Okay. All right, that's all that I have under the mayor's correspondence and information update. City Clerk Treasurer's Report, Ms. Rosnager.
Yes, the city has been notified that Empire State Development Corporation will be holding a public hearing regarding a potential grant to be given to Colmar Laboratories as capital investment for business expansion. And that public hearing will be here at the City Hall, 20 Campbell Street, in this room on December 12th, 2014, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. To consider the general project plan, and they invite all of the public to attend. And this notice is posted in our city clerk's office. In addition, I will tell you that today, myself and one of my sub-registrars attended a training session with the Association of Town Clerks and the Department of Health regarding the process of converting the death certificate and burial permit process to completely to electronics. That should be headed our way in the summertime of next year to phase that all into an electronic process. So this is the first phase of the Department of Health records that are going electronic for all electronic filing between the hospitals, the funeral home directors, and our offices. So that is coming down the road. I don't think I have anything to report out of our office.
Thank you very much. All business, Mr. Siegel.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Belcher spoke about the Chris Kendall Mart and the Sand Express, and I don't want to rehash anything he said, but last year we were at Disney and we didn't have an opportunity to see it last year, and all I can say is wow, unbelievable. We were at Disney and that was wow too, but to think that something like that happened in Port Jervis is just amazing. And last night we went to Berryville, and they do a little different there. They have to stand an express, and it comes across the bridge, and then it goes to Berryville, and then it goes to Eldred, then it goes to Ewell, and it just makes a swing. And to watch this coming down across the bridge and then going up 97, and it was just amazing to see it. So I'd just like to thank Lou Montillone and all the people, all the characters, and I use that term affectionately, all the characters that were with him. It was just an amazing thing. I think all of us kids enjoyed it just as much as the little kids. So you'll bring it back next year? Good girl.
No pressure.
But we're getting to know Lou pretty good, so if you need any help, let me know. I want to remind everybody that if you want to park in the municipal parking lots, the new local law indicates that you need to have a parking permit. Those parking permits are available at the clerk's office. Those that normally park there have gotten permits, so it's the tenants that we're looking for. We hope that they get the permit before they get a ticket from the police. Also, local law number 4 is in effect, and that mainly deals with landlords for the most part. But if you have a vacant, boarded up, or abandoned buildings, check with the building department to find out what your responsibilities are. There will be an aggressive enforcement of that law. That law is intended to bring abandoned, boarded, and vacant buildings to a condition where they look like they're not vacant. There are some buildings downtown, for example, on Front Street, where the leaves are still there from last fall. It's not very inviting for all the things that the CDA is trying to do to make Port Jervis a destination location, or a location destination. And Port Jervis is looking up. I think it's looking nicer. I think that some businesses are starting up. I see more people downtown. So we all have to do our part to make Port Jervis a pretty little city that the song says it is. And we're going to get some more storms, like the Thanksgiving storm. So if you have a fire hydrant in front of your home, please take the time to shovel it out. Or if you have a neighbor that's unable to do that, please give them a hand so that our firefighters don't have to go around and shovel it out when they come to a fire call. It's a lot easier to do it, of course, when it's soft and new than it is when it's icy and hard. So please do that. The firemen do go around, they do shovel them out after a couple days, but it'd be a great help if you helped us help you. And if you see code violations in your neighborhood, be sure to call the buildings department. They're very aggressively going after all kinds of code violations. And if you see other problems, call the police department promptly. Lock your doors. Don't answer your doors to strangers. And remember, if you see something, do something. And could that be the end?
No.
It could be. It is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Roney?
Mayor, I just wanted to comment on the water meters. And I wanted to bring it up when we passed the law, but I want to talk about the water meters, not the sewer use tax fee. And I'm listening to the points that Tim had made. And we have struggled, multiple administrations have struggled with this water meter thing. And I know a lot of people are combining the two. The problem with just turning the water meters on is that there's revenue that the water meters generate. So that's the bottom line that the water plant has to make, no matter what. And then the adjustments would have to go from there. And people have struggled with trying to decide what the base would be, even on the water meter, because you couldn't turn them on and lose money. The city would go bankrupt. So it isn't as easy as saying one person's going to pay less than the four. In theory, that's true. But whatever the budget for the water plant is right now would be the starting point. We've talked about it, and we've talked about it extensively, probably not publicly enough. And then I think it would be, the testing was done on how many gallons would be used and then how much to charge over certain gallons that people would be using. No one has taken that step under 5 administrations because it's so difficult to come up with a solution to that. The sewer fee is something completely different in my mind in that it's the infrastructure of just the pipes, since we don't have to pay for the filtration, the sewer end. So that would be the issue there. Similar, but also it would be different meters as well. You wouldn't use the same meter. I know that there was discussion, some of the councilmen thought one has some water background, extensive water background. He wanted it metered as well, but there was no way to get that done by the end of this year for the budget process. So that's where we were with that way. I just wanted people to know that there'd be a minimum on the water end, and then there'd be some sort of usage scale, because otherwise, you know, the money can't be less than what we have right now. Without belaboring the issue, that's the problem. And no one's really wanted to address how to do that with is it 3,500 water users that we have? Something like that. That's it. I wanted to say that I listened and take your points. Well, you know, I listened to very well to what you said, but that's part of the problem, was coming up with that formula.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ritchie?
Thank you, Mayor. On November 26th, Stan was covering the planning board meeting for me. We had our biannual second board meeting. We had probably 10 or 11 people. The people that were there, we decided that we were going to have a monthly meeting, and we were going to bypass December. And our next tentative meeting is going to be January 26th, which is Tuesday at 7 p.m. We also want to thank all the department heads that came to the meeting. Some of the points, there was talk on of crosswalks, Bluestone, the walkway by the train, we can look into that, and the tow path, recommend that tow path was done beautifully, and they were looking for, we want to do lighting and stuff like that. But overall, it was a great meeting, and I think it's a good start for us, and I'm hoping for a lot of success and more people moving forward. That's all I have, Mayor.
Good, thank you. Mr. Hendrick?
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
I just want to interject. When you said fire hydrants, Mr. Seagal, also if there's a crosswalk by your house, please open up the crosswalk so those with needs can get through there, and kids especially walking to school. Mr. Pavozo, please.
I wanted to second what Stan said regarding the Christmas market that was last weekend, or actually the weekend prior to that. It was a fantastic time. Laura, you weren't kidding about the chocolate-covered bacon stuff. I mean, I was dreaming about chocolate-covered bacon for days after that. But it was, overall, it was amazing. When I was down there for probably about an hour and a half, and it was absolutely packed. I mean, you could barely move at times through the tent and through the trackside. Very well attended. Happy to see that the residents of the city got out to support it, and I hope it keeps up in the future. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cunningham.
Nothing, Mayor.
Mr. Belcher.
Yeah, I would just like to thank all the residents who did come to our ward meeting. We did have a discussion on the Bluestone sidewalks, and shortly after the meeting, I sent out the informational email like I usually do, and I sent out over 400 emails, and I asked for people to let me know their comments regarding the Bluestone sidewalks, and I was surprised I didn't hear one. Not one. And that's all I have. Oh, the Santa Express.
Stanley has some.
The Santa Express, last night was in Guns Bay. And my son and his family attended there. And my granddaughter got to get up on the float and hold one of the letters that they were using for a very Merry Christmas. She was the V. And she got, the Snow Queen held her, and I'll tell you, she was really thrilled. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Waligrowski.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand that there's been a lot of concerns, complaints about the new red arrow up East Main Street and Jersey Avenue. Some of us can laugh about it. Some people get very upset about it. We had talked about it last week at a meeting, at a budget meeting. Just want to let everybody know that DPW is conferring with the police chief. There's a lot of bugs still need to be worked out on that light. Actually, matter of fact, prior to the meeting, Mr. Bell and I were sitting here talking that, yeah, there's still, it's a big inconvenience right now. Everybody for years used to be able to make a right on red, and you never even thought about it. While the police department's been doing their job, they pulled several vehicles over. Like I said, budget times, anything else. We haven't got an email or complaint about anything, but when a red light gets put in and all of a sudden people are getting pulled over, you hear all sorts of complaints. If I'm correct, Jack, that your DPW is still working on it, there's still some issues that have to be addressed, and hopefully in the near future, you won't have to sit there for an extended period of time. And I know our rest of the traffic lights have been adjusted to try to keep traffic flowing, but that's a big hang-up that I can assure you that between the DPW, the PD, and Pantel Electric, they'll get that problem resolved. So just bear with it. But if the light's red, if the arrow is red, I recommend not turning red on red. Then the other thing is, Mr. Siegel's worried about hydrants getting shoveled out. With all the leaves that are still on the ground, I know DPW, being as short-handed they are, they got enough to go on catch basins on the corner of your streets. That's a big thing. Now, this storm right now, they're predicting snow, they're predicting rain, could be anything. Catch basin, that's the main reason to get water away from your house. If you have a catch basin out in front of your house, down the corner, whatever, try to keep that clear, because they're saying right now we could have potential up to 2 to 3 inches of rain. Right now, the ground being somewhat frozen, that could cause a problem, flooding and stuff. So maybe keep the drains open. DPW, I'm sure will be around, but this time of year, they got people on vacations and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that and drive safe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bell?
If we keep asking you to shovel different things out, pretty soon we'll have you shoveling the roads. Once again, the tourism board did a terrific job with Chris Kendallmeyer. My wife and I were up there. It was very hard to move either in the tent or inside trackside. A great turnout, and I think as more and more people learn of it around the county, it'll get even bigger. Just congratulations again, a very nice job.
New business, sir?
The Neighborhood Watch is not going to, the Fourth Ward Neighborhood Watch is not going to meet in December. Our next meeting will be on January the 21st at 7 o'clock, those fours.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have. Thank you. Mr. Wogrowski?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Belcher?
Yeah, I should have mentioned this under old business. I just wanted to remind the council, at the last meeting, I made a motion to file a resolution with the New York State Public Service Commission in opposition to the present attempt by Orange and Rockland to have their increased rates on both electricity and gas. And I would like to see that done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anything else?
That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Cunningham?
Nothing, Mayor.
Mr. Boboza?
Just wanted to mention briefly, and I hope I'm doing this somewhat with a blessing of stand, but one of the items that we had discussed in the last code committee meeting, which was last week, was a potential new zoning district within the city of Port Jervis. For those councilmen that were not at that meeting, I provided you with a packet of information. Some time ago, before I was on the council, an outside organization was hired to look at the possibility of a waterfront district. As Valerie said, and Valerie, who's doing an absolutely terrific job with the CDA, the Whitewater Park is getting close to the permitting stage. And we're hoping that sometime in the first half of next year, we'll have a more definitive idea of whether or not that's going to happen. What I'm going to start pushing in January with the Code Committee is discussing the potential of a waterfront district. What I've provided is a sample waterfront district law that was presented by the consultants who had done the work at the time, as well as a partial map of the city of Port Jervis with a highlighted area of what might be a suggested location for that waterfront district. I have that rough idea of the area based upon conversations that I've been having for the last 3 or 4 weeks with Lori Powery in the building inspector's office. She's been working very closely with me to get this started. But I wanted to let the council know that I'm going to be asking 2 main questions, both of the council and of the code committee. Number one, what is the true area that we would want included in a district like that? And number two, what are the uses we would want to limit that district to? I had presented some ideas to the code committee for them to consider, but I think we'll be ramping it up at the beginning of the year. I'm certainly would like to welcome any council member, any member of the public to come to those code committee meetings to be a part of that discussion. I was also hoping to ask Mr. Ritchie if you could give both the zoning board and the planning board a heads up, because if we were to institute a new zoning district, it's something that we would need their input on as well. But I wanted to provide at least this preliminary information because in my eyes it's better to have these discussions and have something in place so that we're ready to implement it should the water park become a definite a feature of the city. And in worst case scenario, have all of the work done and not need to use it. So I wanted to give that to everyone who wasn't at the meeting this evening. And then I do have a couple extra copies for those who were at the meeting and may need an extra copy. So if you need that, please contact me. I also wanted to add, I should have done this under old business as well, that I thought that the turnout for the tree lighting on that Saturday night was also spectacular. There was a very large turnout, probably the largest I've ever seen at the city tree lighting. So again, great job by the tourism board on both fronts, and I hope it keeps going over the years. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hendrick?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion for executive session for the following 8 items. Tax lien sale litigation, IDA pilot agreement, invite Mr. Fox. Port Jervis Ambulance Corps, contractual. Humane Society, contractual. Energy in the Bank, contractual. Police, contractual, invite the chief. The budget with regards to personnel. And lastly, fire department with regards to the bylaws.
A motion by Mr. Hendrick for executive session. Have a second? Second by Mr. Cunningham. Discussion?
Just that?
Yeah, the fire chief might want to come if he wants to the last one.
And invite the chief.
All in favor? Opposed? So carried. Mr. Ritchie?
No, nothing new, thank you.
Mr. Oni?
No, Mayor.
Mr. Siegel?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple items here. As Mr. Gulcher said, don't forget the holiday parade. It's this Sunday. Starts at noon at the Barnum House. It's always a great time. Everybody has a lot of fun. So don't forget to be there. There's still time to do holiday shopping. Hanukkah is until next week, and Christmas is until a couple weeks from then. And we have a great opportunity, even though we don't think about it, to shop locally. I know I'm going to really mess up here, and somebody's going to call me up as soon as I get home, but I made a little bit of list. We have art galleries. We have the oldest glass house in the United States. We have antiques. We have gift stores. We have lumber yards. We have car parts stores. We have flowers. We have trees and wreaths. We have other things that I just didn't mention. I think that when we did the shopping weekend 2 weeks ago, a lot of those places highlighted themselves, and it was really amazing. That's what's really here that we don't even think about. I bought something for my wife that a local woman handcrafted. It's absolutely beautiful. But if I'm not sitting here in January, she did me in. But I think it was a wonderful gift. And gifts like that will, whatever it is, I can't say because she's probably watching this on the internet, Kelly. But it's a beautiful gift. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that was done here in Port Jervis, as was all these other things that I'm talking about. So if you want to shop, I do a lot of shopping on the internet, but I also try to shop here. There's some beautiful stuff that you can get here. So enough said on that.
Best $10 you ever spent.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I'm sure it's not a gift that'll do you instant.
Yeah,
It was $25.
25. And I would
And
like
it's
an
beautiful.
update on the first meeting in January, an update of what the gift is, Sharon. if
I'll
you
bring
can
a
tell
picture.
us.
I'll bring you all a picture, but I think she'll love it too. Just in case I'm not here. I lost my train of thought. Mr. Gottlieb's menu, I didn't, memo, I wanted to bring that up here. I'm confused, and I'm not gonna put it all back on the table, I did that several times already. But I'm confused as to why billing by the meters is such a big crisis. In my simple mind, we know what it costs us to run it, we're in the black, that's our base. Anything beyond that needs to be paid for by those that use it. I don't know why that would take 8 months to do, I don't understand why it's so hard to do. And I guess my big fear is, I didn't realize it till Mr. Gottlieb mentioned it, but if we're expected by the DRBC to do it, and we don't do it, then what's the consequence? If we're not, if your interpretation is different than Mr. Gottlieb's, I still think it can be done. Maybe I'm making it too simplistic, but to me it doesn't seem like a difficult thing. We have a lot of data. We know how many people live, for the most part, we know how many people live in each home. So we know, based on what we have today, if 2 people live in a home, they're going to use X number of gallons. And we proved that because we know what you did, we know what I did, we know what Jerry did, and we know what my mom did. And it's sort of correlated to the number of people. So to me, it's not as big of a deal. And I just think if we're doing it, we should do it. That's all I had to say on that. Why do I have Mr. Vivoso, Code Committee? Oh, Mr. Vivoso's right, and we keep on saying this. Please, we're begging you to come to the Code Committee meetings. We're begging you to come to all the meetings. That's where people are complaining about all the business is done. Well, if all the business is done there, which the meat of a lot of it is done there, come on and help us. It's like you go to a play and there's 4 people in the audience. You don't like to play up to 4 people. We'd like to have a bigger audience. We'd like to have more input. So please, especially codes, because that's where my heart is right now, and the other committees too, planning and zoning. We go to them all. Fire and emergency management is not as exciting as codes, but there's things that you might want to bring up.
Codes are exciting.
It's exciting. We do a lot. We code 14 codes in 1 year. What other council ever did 14 codes in 1 year, laws in 1 year?
He's right, it's an exciting 2-hour meeting.
That's right. Now we're not stuck at 45 minutes somewhere, so it's even more exciting. But please come to the meetings. And as I said, Hanukkah starts next week on the 16th. Happy Hanukkah to all my Jewish friends. And Christmas starts, and I don't know when Kwanzaa does, probably around Christmas, right? So happy holidays to everybody from us to you. And that's what I have. Thank you.
Mr. Siegel, the Christmas parade lineup is at 1 o'clock, and the parade starts at 2 o'clock.
Correct.
Oh,
Not noon.
mine's at noon, so it's 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock.
Yes.
So if you get there at noon,
Get a good
George,
shot.
it'll be real exciting when you wait to see the parade come.
And also, Mr. Siegel reminded me, I've been hearing remarks about our committee meetings and some of the public hearings are just formalities, but that's not true. We have already had changes made in some of the laws that we've worked on because of public participation in our code meetings. So, please, don't be afraid to come and speak your mind. Thank you.
Before we go into that second public comment, I neglected to, I have another proclamation here, and it's really important. It's something that I'm going to give to you, Mr. Siegel, if you could deliver it on Friday. But as some of you might not know, we have a community builders program, and this is through AHRC, Individuals with Developmental Disabilities. And they've worked with our senior dining for a long time, and they also work in our community garden, and they make things and they donate to the elderly. So I created a proclamation to say, whereas the Orange County AHRC is a non-for-profit agency founded in 1954 by a small group of parents and family members of people with developmental disabilities. And whereas today, Orange County AHRC serves more than 1,700 individuals with developmental disabilities in 28 programs located throughout the county, which includes the Community Builders Program. And whereas the Community Builders Program volunteers